Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the European Open. Wow, what a tournament. It is Tuesday, July 23rd. Josh Mansfield joining me, Charlie Eisenhood. Thank you for being with us. Give us a like and a subscribe wherever you are enjoying this podcast. Check out our YouTube channel if you haven't already, Multi-World Disc Golf. And you can watch the show every week. And Josh, man, oh man, what a weekend we just had. 5,500 people there to watch in person on Sunday. We get to enjoy an unbelievable record-setting comeback from Kristin Tattar before we go on to watch Gannon and Ricky do an unbelievable battle down the stretch. And it's tied going into 18. Gannon pulls it off. I mean, the rapid reacts were so much fun this week because every round was a crazy story in one way or another. From the lightning to the double round to the, just crazy shooting. Kristin riding the roller coaster the whole weekend. Unbelievable.
If I had just shown you the names of the finishers and their total score, you would think this weekend was lackluster, right?
Ho-hum.
Gannon wins by 2.
Standard stuff.
Kristin beat Silva by 1. Like, wow, Silva had a really nice performance, but and that's it. That's all you would take from that. Anything but. What an incredible weekend. And I think something to note too is like, and I don't want to take anything away from Corey Ellis last year, but when a player wins that, conceivably might not win ever again, right? That was their only win on tour. It's something that can be a little bit hard sometimes because it's a question of like, what happened, what contributed to it. There's other storylines that kind of muddy the excitement of the golf a little bit when a player who you just don't expect to win again does win on tour, especially at a major for the first time. The drama that then leads to the 2 number 1 players in the world winning make for incredible storylines that really feed for some exciting discussion about disc golf in the future. And I know we're going to get to a little bit of that today.
So much to talk about. I mean, look, first of all, we already did like a full hour on the final round alone. I don't think we're going to do a play-by-play of the final holes, although I definitely encourage you to get a subscription and go listen to our final round Rapid Reacts because it was tons of fun and every hole down the stretch was very interesting. We'll touch on some of the topics down the stretch as we go through this today, but I think a chance for us to zoom out a little bit and think about like the bigger stories. And one of the things that, we talked about in the preview, Josh, was like, this tournament just feels like it's coming at a time where it could sort of reset expectations about the future and like where players stand, what the hierarchy is. And then we also end up in a spot where our MPO lead card, I think there's interesting stories on both lead cards for the final round, right? MPO, I don't really think you could draw up a better lead card if you're trying to sell DGN subscriptions than this one. So put in your conspiracies now because Gannon, Nicholas, Paul, and Rick is pretty much a dream.
Yep.
It's definitely a dream for Discmania, by the way. But, to have the 2 superstars of the previous generation with arguably the 2 biggest stars of our new generation, right? Nicholas, not the same level of winner, obviously, as Gannon, but I mean, he is the heir apparent in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's playing at home in Finland.
Yep. Great point.
And then you have Gannon, who's unquestionably separated himself from the other talented young pros. I mean, he already had in a way, but to get his second major, to do it in the way that he did it, to have to stare down Paul and Rick, who were playing extremely well this weekend, that is all to me. Like, there's a reason people are already starting to like overreact about Gannon and say that he's the next, he's the next Macbeth, and maybe he is, and we can talk about that today.
I completely agree, and it is one of those things. We talked about it in Anthony Barella as well during his stretch of winning. How you win matters a lot about how it defines you as a player. And Gannon overcame everything that you could think of in order to win this tournament that I think solidifies him as the very apparent number 1 player in the world right now, young or otherwise. It included a slow start to round 1 that he had to overcome. two different courses with completely different styles of golf that are required, a lightning delay that requires you to play 2 rounds in a single tournament, playing with the kind of pressure that comes from crowds, and having significantly popular and like big personalities who have long defined disc golf on your card, overcoming a call from a time violation from a PDGA official coming down the stretch, having a collapse on a hole that eliminates a 2-stroke swing, requiring you to clutch up on 18 with a precise drive and upshot. Tell me what more you want from a player to then take the way, this is a moment that really solidifies his place atop the hierarchy.
I cannot I cannot stop thinking about this comment from our subscriber Pete in the Discord. He said, I want Gannon to go full villain in the post-round interview. Quote, Gannon did not say this. This is what Pete hoped he would say. Quote, I beat the Raptor, I beat the GOAT, I beat the Beast, I beat the Monster, I beat the officials, I beat the fans. Now, just to break down those last couple points.
I forgot about the
There
fans.
was somebody in the crowd who was intentionally coughing and heckling Gannon. I saw now that it happened on multiple holes, and he loudly coughed right when Gannon was throwing that putt after his slid OB on 10. And Gannon missed, 2-shot swing, kind of like brought Rick back into the conversation. That guy got bounced. They kicked him out. Security kicked him out of there, which, you know what? Come on, dude. What are you doing? But that was hilarious. And then, so how about this, Josh? Now, we already talked about this on the Reacts, but we have to talk about it again here. The PDGA's Rebecca Duffy gave a time violation warning to Gannon on the tee of the 16th. Now, I've been looking around, and Gannon, in a response to somebody on his Instagram comments, said that he got warning because of his tee shot on the 15th. Now, I went back and I watched it, and you can't see exactly when he steps on the tee pad, but more plus or minus 2 seconds maybe. I clocked it. Yeah, I mean, this is a big shot, right? 15.
Rick is laid up.
A tricky tee shot. You got to throw the hyzer. Big towering hyzer. It's really easy to go OB. Elevated basket, all that. And it's, there's 4 holes left in the tournament. And the pressure's on. You don't have that big 4-shot lead anymore. And I clocked it at 44 seconds. And they give him a time warning. How do you feel about that decision from the marshal?
Horrible call. Absolutely worst call. And we joked earlier in the week about Rick or Paul paying the officials to time violation Gannon down the stretch. And then it happened. So I think someone needs to take a look at Rick. Did that Bitcoin stay in his account, or did a sizable transfer get made? And is Rebecca Duffy now the
airdrop
crowd? I don't know if you can airdrop Bitcoin. That can't be a thing.
Oh, I think that's what they call. I think that's what they call sending.
Is it really?
Sending crypto.
Oh my
I think
gosh,
so.
That's so funny.
I'm not a big crypto guy.
I'm imagining like how people like on flights will spam airdrop requests.
Yeah. Imagine
spamming crypto requests from people on flight.
I think that's
the thing. Okay. All right.
CrowdStrike once was stopping these things, but no more.
Yikes. Sorry for you traveling last week.
I saw hackers are now sending out like CrowdStrike-hotfix.zip and like, hey, install this to fix your CrowdStrike. I'm like, oh my God, what a disaster.
Oh man. Anyway, so here's the problem. People say, and that you have the rules apologists who are like, no, this is what the PDGA has needed to do for years. We need to be calling time violations. And nobody more on this than on this show agrees that rules need to be enforced.
We are on board.
Yes, we are rules apologists, but call Gannon on hole. Are you telling me that Gannon didn't go overtime once before hole 15? I don't buy it. I did not time him, but I don't buy it. So if that's the case, let's just presume somewhere in the front 9, Gannon went overtime. If you knew this was going to be a problem and you knew that you were going to call it, then you should have been with a stopwatch and call it the first chance you get to have a minimal impact on the round. Because then Gannon says, okay, I'm on the clock, like I'm timed, I've been warned, I will get stroked if I go overtime again. the fact that they waited until hole 15 makes it feel like, oh yes, we're gonna prove a point here. We're gonna make an example of Gannon, and it's so stupid because it's the complete opposite of what every other sport does. I brought this up on the Reacts. Hockey, I think, is like infamous for this. Hockey will call everything until like the 5-minute warning, and then the refs like just put blinders on, and unless you javelin spear a man through the chest, they're not gonna call anything. That's the way it should be.
I saw basically here's my simple take. At this point in the round, at the final round of a major in the back 9, right? Let the players make the calls. And the only time you should be stepping in as an official is if there's like an OB question or, some sort of dispute between the players.
Love that decision.
But otherwise, it's good. Like I don't have a problem as a viewer at home watching Gannon take a couple extra beats and throw his chalk when we're talking about 4 holes to go and a crucial tee shot. So anyway, I don't want to spend too long on this. I couldn't get the Pete comment out of my head.
It's just stupid.
Amazing stuff, though, right? So, Gannon, it wasn't just that he did great in the final round, and I think you did a good job pointing out, like, he had to play through all of these things. I mean, how about on day 3, Saturday, when Gannon effectively played 2 full rounds?
Yeah, I think he went from the day before.
Right.
Yeah.
He went from hole 13 in round 2 to hole 12 in round 3. Okay, so a full 18 holes over the course of 2 rounds. Right. He birdied 15 of the 18 holes with no bogeys. And that's on 2 different courses in the same day.
Yep.
That is unbelievable stuff. And that's basically why he won the tournament. Obviously, he had to play well on the final day because Ricky played out of his mind. Ricky played out of his absolute mind. An unbelievable performance. He sets a course record at the Beast this week. 13 under. He goes 14 of 18, circle 1 regulation. And Josh, by the way, speaking of Ricky, that's his 3rd course record set on a different course in the last 3 weeks in Europe.
Look,
it's kind of crazy to think about how good Rick played and still didn't win.
Look, Charlie, I said it 2 weeks ago. I said
it's Macbeth Eagle vibes.
Rick is going to win a bunch in Europe and podium at European Open. And he's just doing it in like the most heartbreaking way.
You did say it.
But I said it. I said that. But man, for those of you who don't know, I think this happened in a Rapid Reacts. I don't remember if it happened in a main show. We have a bet about Ricky winning a major in the next 3 years to see if he'll go a decade without winning a major. And the loser has to fly out and buy tickets to a professional sports game. I thought I was flying to New York. I'm not going to lie. I was looking at flights when Rick was coming down the stretch.
Keep looking.
But we're good. We're good. This
man's going to get one.
We'll come
soon.
back to this. I have thoughts.
He's going to get one. He might win world. I mean, he's in his best form that I think we've seen him in a couple of years. And it's not like he's been way off the pace lately, but I mean, he's really dialed in right now. He gets all the way back, Josh.
Yeah, he does.
After Gannon, the swings in this tournament, 17, Gannon hits the light post, and it kicks him inbounds instead of out, which is a miracle, right?
Yeah.
The disc is going the wrong... No, I guess he was coming in on forehand.
Yeah, coming
but that just makes it even crazier because if he hits any part of the outside of the post, it's going to go OB. But he ends up landing inbounds. He's inside the circle, and then he misses the putt. It hits the cage, and it rolls out of bounds. And you're like, how is this the story right now? So Ricky ties it up because he threw an incredible tee shot and parked it. And we go to 18, and then Ricky ends up in kind of a bad spot by that low tree on the backside of the fairway when you make the turn up the hill. And Gannon puts his in the primo spot to attack the green. Ricky has to go first. And he said in his post-round interview that he was worried he wasn't going to be able to get enough power on the shot because of he had a very short run up. He was kind of in the tree and he got 2 steps into the shot. And so he picked a flippier disc and it just went straight OB. Never came back. And it feels so cruel and heartbreaking for him to lose on that shot when he had played so well over the last 2 rounds. And to come back from how far down he was, it would have been, I think, a top 5 comeback all time at a major in MPO.
You're spot on. The thing is like Ricky made decisions down the stretch though that I think fundamentally affected his chances to win this tournament. He comes in, 4 strokes back of the lead?
I believe that's right.
4 strokes back.
I think Paul was 3 back and Rick was 4 back.
So you're back 4 strokes of the lead, right? You have 18 holes to make up 4 strokes on a course that doesn't give bogeys that often, right? The fact Gannon bogeyed twice is actually pretty surprising because most players, if you look...
Both in weird scenarios, right?
Yes.
An OB combined with a missed putt on both circumstances.
Correct. Like, you have to go... I mean, Lowry had 2 OBs, and he finished 8th. And then you got to go down to, like, Maury Villman down tied 9th in order to find somebody else who had more OBs. So, it's not something that players who are finishing in the top 10 are doing. It's just, this course doesn't have a ton of bogey opportunities. And... so there's a couple decisions here that I think Rick makes that affect his chances to win by playing conservative. Number 1, hole 15, the choice to lay up when you're still down by 2 strokes. He is lucky that he didn't lose another stroke on that hole and that Gannon missed his putt. I think at that point, you need to look at that and make the game time decision that you need to make an approach and try and get the birdie because you're running out of holes to make up strokes on. And Gannon had misplayed some holes, but was still lights out for most of the round. And so it's hard to say, oh yeah, we're just going to, bank on Gannon messing up. He just gone 4 straight for birdies. Number 2, on hole 18, we talk about him being behind the tree. We have seen in previous years though, if you take the forehand route, it is typically safer that you will not go OB. You get to check into the hill. And if you do go OB, it's not like you're OB early, right? You're not re-teeing, which you are in the case of Gannon's shot. But you play a lottery game with the trees down in the bowl that you're throwing the forehand to. That's a risk that Ricky had to take. And if he really wanted to make sure that he had a better chance of a clean approach to the green, he should have taken Gannon's line, which is the riskier play, but if executed, gives you the much, much cleaner and easier approach into the green.
Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree. Like he definitely left himself in a slightly awkward spot. The thing is, you just think about there's still the randomness of if it skips a little further, it's fine. We
see so many forehands in that bowl end up worse spots where they're directly behind the tree or in the tree, right?
It's true.
It's lucky he had a swing at all.
But I mean, think about the fact, right? So he bogeys 18 and it's course record.
Yep. You're right. He had a great.
It could. I mean, a slightly better position on the fairway, and he's probably shooting 15 down.
Look, 4. And yes, you're right.
And they're going to a playoff. Yep. And that's the breaks of golf, and that's why it's incredible viewing.
Yeah.
Even though they nerfed 16, this fly is just absolutely brutal right now. By the way. And we had plenty to say about hole 16 in the React, so we'll just leave it there. But, I mean, it's obviously a disastrous change. Yep. I think... I don't know what else you can do if you're Rick. I think you just have to come out and be like, man, I just messed up 1 shot and I lost. What else can you say? What else can you say? Gannon played incredible. Ricky played incredible. And Gannon was just a little bit better. I mean, I just feels like essentially, like I said earlier, it's just like Eagle Macbeth, right? Macbeth played unbelievable. And Eagle still won. That's how it goes sometimes. And Gannon is just not afraid of these moments. And even though he talks about how nervous he was and how hard it is to outduel Paul and Rick, and he did it. He made the shots. He recovered from the mistakes. He bounced back both times. After the bogey on 10, he birdied 4 in a row. And then, of course, he birdied 18, even though he didn't really need it. And it couldn't have been a better played hole. He played perfectly. Perfect spot off the tee shot and literally under the basket drop in for the birdie to win.
The birdie secures, though, Rick not making a par putt from the OB. Right, that makes that putt irrelevant.
Yeah.
So,
but
true. still
it eliminates the chance of a crazy
correct.
sequence.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Because like otherwise, like let's say Rick goes OB, like, or goes OB on his third, and so he's putting for bogey. Then Gannon just lays up, right? Just chip shots and then puts it under the basket. You don't take that shot, but a very, very well executed approach. This does put Gannon 10th all time for Elite Series and Major winners, putting him at 8th. He is also now tied with Rick and a couple others, Chris Dickerson. No, not Rick, excuse me. Chris Dickerson. Tied with Chris Dickerson and Isaac Robinson, having 2 majors towards what is now the career Grand Slam of USDGC Champions Cup, Worlds, and European Open.
Mm-hmm. And Gannon joins the multiple major winners club, which is not that big of a club.
Prestigious club.
I'll run it down. It's not that long of a list. Climo, Macbeth, Feldberg, Wysocki, Schultz, Das, Schustrick, Jenkins, Rico, Locastro, Ferens, Duval, McCabe, McMahon, Conrad, Lundmark, Dickerson, Robinson last year, and now Burr. And by the way,
Great company.
Gannon has the fewest starts with 10. He has 2 major wins in 10
Guys,
starts.
20%.
Yep. In win percentage category, he is now 3rd all time, behind Climo and Macbeth. In terms of wins per start.
What's that percentage?
Climo, 32.7%. Oh, let me get even more granular.
Okay.
32.73%.
Okay.
Macbeth, 32.69%.
Drop this weekend.
0.04. Yeah, he was probably
He was number one.
Now,
I remember this.
Now
yes,
he's behind
he was
Climo.
number 1 before this weekend.
And Gannon is at a pure 20%.
Dang. I mean, Gannon wins more than Eveliina makes putts.
Come on. That's just strays right now. To just wrap up some MPO thoughts, Macbeth came into this tournament 3-0 all time when he trailed by 3 strokes going into the final round of a major.
Remember Worlds?
He won all 3 of those majors, including, of course, against Gossage.
Yes.
At Worlds.
Biggest Worlds comeback.
He's now 3-1.
Yeah, now 3-1.
He no-showed a little bit the final round. It was disappointing.
Well, Charlie,
I think I certainly expected him to be right there.
He had a migraine. You can't blame the guy.
Macbeth with the Insta post with the always something. He's like, I'm sorry to the fans. I had a migraine and I had to leave right away after the round. I'm like,
it's jet lag, Charlie.
You know what? It's just jet lag. It's a cold. Can you believe Biden dropped out, by the way?
Oh my gosh. That's wild. I saw news. This
has been the craziest political 3 weeks that I can remember in my life. Like, I was thinking about it. This will be in the history books. This whole sequence
from Biden debate till now, crazy. Yeah. I saw. We're recording this Tuesday morning. Kamala has officially gotten enough delegates promised that she will be the nominee.
I mean, but what does that mean? It's not a done deal until it's done. I would be shocked if there was any other result. I agree.
Everyone who could have contested her has endorsed her already. So
in really crazy times.
Yeah.
Macbeth also was 11-1 coming into the weekend if he was tied or in the lead going after 2 rounds at a major, and he was tied with Gannon after 2 rounds. And now lost again. His first loss in that category was back at 2014, 10 years ago at USDGC. And it's not like he played bad. It wasn't terrible, but he had a lot of work to do in the final round and had to shoot like Ricky did, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
A couple of nickname thoughts in the Discord. Do you like Iceman for Gannon?
Yes, I said it in the Discord. I think that's my favorite. I think it plays well on like the burr, the ice in his veins, but it also gets to rely on like a canon of media with Vance Kilmer and Top Gun that I think gives like
what's his name there?
I know I was wrong. I
crap. Like went with it. Van. You said Vance. It's Val.
It's Val Kilmer. I said it and I was like, hold on, that's not right. Yeah, it is Val Kilmer. You were right. My bad.
He's still alive, right? I know he's not doing
I don't
very
think so.
well. He's like lost his voice. No, I think he is. He's 64.
I thought
he has the voice problem. It's sad.
Yeah, I knew he had the voice problems, but I thought
No,
right,
I just checked.
Right, you're right.
I wasn't sure, but he's still alive. But yeah, I need Gannon to like. He needs to put some bulk on. He needs to get into the gym so he can look like Val Kilmer out there, and then the Iceman reference will feel good. Other people suggest a couple other things. The cornfield cannon, Gannon, the cornfield cannon.
Listen,
it's too cringy.
Coming from a state where we lean into the whole like we have one agricultural product that sets us apart, so we're gonna make it everything we have. Don't do it. It's a trap. It doesn't make you cool or popular. No. I'm
trying to come up with potato nicknames for you right now.
There's literally like a semi pro hockey team in Idaho Falls that's the Spud Kings, and it's a potato wearing a crown.
I love that.
No, it's awful.
I would get that hat.
Awful.
Oh, come on.
No, it's so bad.
Embrace your heritage.
I refuse. We lean way too hard into it, and
Do you not like potatoes?
I love potatoes, but like ISU and University of Idaho play in like a football game that's called the Potato Bowl, and they have like. They literally came with a trophy that's like a 16-pound potato. It's just like this carved and polished.
I love it.
No, it's terrible, Charlie.
Hey, there's a restaurant in Santa Fe where you can order a baked potato dessert, and it looks exactly like a baked potato with sour cream and toppings and everything, but it's ice cream, like rolled in cocoa.
Okay.
And if you're in Santa Fe, check it out.
Okay. Anyway, no corn.
Another nickname option, the Glacier.
See, that's fine.
That's
not bad.
You think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. But none of it is as good as the Iceman.
Yeah. The problem with the Glacier is like that becomes a double-edged sword where you're like, oh yeah, he's cold as ice, or like, oh yeah, like it's like watching a glacier melt when Gannon plays. Like you don't want to pick a nickname that cuts both ways.
Right. Well, I mean that's of course the idea.
Yeah, I know. I don't want it. You don't want that for Gannon. I don't want that for Gannon.
All right, let's talk a little FPO.
Okay.
It looked like it was curtains for Kristin after an atrocious round 3.
Okay.
Like,
quick pause. Round 2 and 3. Like,
I mean, I know her round 2 wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
If Kristin had shot a round 2 that was like her round 1, or even comparable to Eveliina, then she could have put on cruise control going into the fact that it was close.
Is really crazy, right? So she shoots a 9 under, and then it shoots 8 shots worse.
Yes.
And then her final round was a 5 under, and her round 3 was an 8 over, 13 shots worse.
That was an ice cream sandwich of garbage in the middle. Like
2 delicious pieces of chocolate, whatever you call that. Cookie?
Like cookie.
And rancid vanilla ice cream.
Yes.
And yet it was enough, Josh. I mean, I'm somebody who's like never going to count Kristin out.
Agreed.
But I was thinking like, I'm just devastated all around. I took a 10-1 bet on Eveliina after round 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe round 2. I had Eveliina at 10-1 to win. And after round 3, I'm like, I'm walking in this in. And now I am once again so crushed. Anytime I pick Eveliina to do anything, it's a disaster.
No, Charlie, I think it's anytime you put money on anything, it falls apart.
No, stop. I'm a lifetime winner.
That's fine. Not in disc golf. I don't think you are in disc golf.
No, I'm getting absolutely wrecked.
And man, when you have to fly to Idaho, so we can go to
I stand by my 10-1 Eveliina bet. It was a great bet. But
anyway,
what a disgusting final round from Eveliina Salonen. 9 over, no birdies, 7 OBs, 4 putts the 6th. Well, not really. I mean, she missed a putt.
Yeah.
Bad luck. Really, it was a bad break on 6, and she never recovered. She never recovered. And the putt looked horrendous after that. Just like full prayer hyzer shots instead of having a little bit more of that snappy spin putt that we've been seeing when she looks good on the green. And I don't know. I just feel like Kristin's ability to put a bad round, and really, I think you make a fair point to say 2 not great rounds by her standards, out of her mind come out and execute on the final day and shoot 10-12 rated in order to surpass both Ev and Silva. And it's not like Silva played bad. What can you say? She's the most all-around skilled player, and that includes mentality in the division, and it's not that close.
Spot on. And you know, you can point to any other player and pick a clear and deficient weakness that holds them back. And
what's crazy, I think I already mentioned, this is the largest FPO final round major comeback ever. 7 strokes. It was originally 5. But what I think is crazy is that if there was a thing, and you, I think, were the first person to really identify this and talk about it and kind of turn it into a talking point, is that Kristin struggled in final rounds to come back when she was behind. Mm-hmm. She kind of was a front runner.
And I said it pretty early, and people killed me for it.
Oh, people killed you. People killed you.
Killed me for it.
You got rocked. Her largest comeback win coming into this weekend at a major or elite series, so basically any tour event, was just 2 strokes at 2021 D-Glow. Now, obviously, she's been ahead a lot, so that doesn't have that many opportunities to be coming from behind. But it is true that she has not necessarily been her best when she's been a little off on the weekend. She seems like she's not able to pull it together and come back and beat somebody in the final round. But for her to come from 7 shots back, and this was special stuff.
Yeah, it got to close the door on that narrative now. I mean, even if it's not something she does as frequently as some players who might, be more apt to a comeback, this shows that she has the capacity. You never write Kristin off.
It's Kristin's 7th major. She's now ahead of Juliana Korver, and she's tied for 3rd most all time with Elaine King, Katrina Allen, and Des Redding.
Does one more tie her for 2nd?
That's a great question. I'll check right now. No, of course not, because it's Val Jenkins.
Okay. So that
who has 16, Paige has 17, but Kristin can become solo 3rd if she wins next month at Worlds.
Yeah, very real possibility that happens.
I think she's. I think we've already discussed this before, but I think she's probably, especially having lost the first 2 majors this year, I don't think it's going to be possible for her to catch Paige and Val.
Unlikely.
I mean, it's very unlikely given her age.
But a win at Worlds and moving into 3rd all time, I think really, really makes the debate about legacy interesting.
Yeah, I think the GOAT conversation certainly starts to get more interesting. Speaking of GOAT, Paige finished 7th this weekend. She averaged a higher round rating at the Beast this year than when she won this tournament in 2022.
This comes from Moonrocks in the Discord.
Great stat.
This might be one of the greatest contributions of a stat to this show ever. What a find.
Unbelievable. That's crazy to think about. Now, to be fair, right, there's a bunch of sort of apples to oranges happening here. They were playing on an MPO layout back then.
Were they?
So I don't really know how that affects. Yes, 2022, there was still
was
full
it
MPO
exactly
layout.
the MPO layout?
I believe so.
Because I know within the past couple of years, they tweaked 2 holes that are enough that it would have been an independent.
No, it was
rating.
last year that they started making changes. I'm pretty sure. But let me check.
Let's look.
Par 63, 2771 meters. Yeah,
exactly the same. Okay.
Yep. So I don't really know how much that affects round ratings, but
it probably
just noting that.
Them, but
Paige was 3rd best at the Beast this year, behind Silva, who shot 5 under over 2 rounds, and Missy, who shot 4 under over 2 rounds. Paige was 2 under over 2 rounds, but obviously did not play particularly well at Tampere, where I think she struggled to just play smart golf at times, to be honest.
I think it bodes well for her for Champions Cup next year at Stockton. I mean, that's something that we've talked about, but her playing well at courses she's traditionally played well at, another nice to see. It's not like Paige was just out of it all weekend. So,
but it's also crazy to think about, right? She won this tournament 2 years ago just 2 years ago, which is like I'm still having. I feel like I'm reeling because I've just gotten so used to Kristin. 977 she shot. By the way, her round rating this year was 979. She beat Eveliina by 3 strokes at 977. And these days at a major, you can't average 977 and win, or 979. You got to average at least 990, if not 1,000.
Guess what, Charlie?
What was it this year for?
You don't
tell me.
Don't cut this, Aiden. Leave this in. 986.
Okay,
it's not too far off.
But I mean, it goes to show you. I think it goes to show you 2 things. One is just, of course, the resilience of Kristin,
yes.
But also this was a collapse.
Yep.
From Eveliina in particular, but also Silva had plenty of chances and had a large cushion.
Spot on.
You got to play better. You got to see these players play better.
It's frustrating.
It's very disappointing. It's frustrating to watch. Yeah. It is. It is. I mean, if you're an Eveliina fan, it's brutal out here.
Or an Eveliina better. One other stat, and this is something that, definitely a lack of a couple of American women, but first time, all European lead card.
At a major.
At a major. Yes, at a major ever. Thank you.
Not just European Open.
Correct.
At a major ever.
So
I think, look, I know we were missing Holland and Owen, but all the other relevant top U.S. players were here who could be on a final round lead card. And I think it goes to show you how quality Europe has become.
Yes.
And this is just more proof of that.
Yep.
Missy Gannon did climb onto the podium.
She did.
Perfect podium.
Gosh, I am so mad about this. All right, we're gonna diverge to picks real quick.
Okay.
I get 5 of 6 of the podium
5 of
right.
6 of the podiums, which is an amazing job, Josh.
Including all correct in terms of who is on the podium for FPO. But because I flipped Missy and Silva, Charlie still is going to get more points on me this weekend.
You love to see it.
You don't love. Oh, man.
I had so Gannon on my podium, but I was wrong with AB and Kyle. Josh had Vino on his podium, but went 1-2, Gannon and Ricky, which is very good. I mean, you listen, I think you outpicked me this week, but
it's just
the rules are the rules, Josh.
Rules.
You know what? Time violation. 31 seconds, but rules are the rules.
It feels like rules that they take advantage of in sport, running down clocks. It's taking advantage of it. Oh. Charlie gets a perfect podium. Kristin, Silva, Missy. I get 5 full points from Kristin, Missy, Silva, but do not get the bonus because Missy and Silva were not in the correct order.
Wow.
Heartbreaking.
Wow. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some questions to answer, like who was the biggest disappointment this weekend? Who do you think just had a bad weekend, but it was no big deal? We're going to make some 2 early 2025 World picks and more, plus Pursewatch. Stay with us. It's the Upshot.
At Pound, the quality of our gear runs deeper than the stitching. That's why we make everything right here in the U.S., employing highly skilled, well-paid professionals. From bomb-proof Cordura fabric to YKK zippers and recycled plastics, we source the highest quality U.S. materials to make the most comfortable, durable pack in disc golf. Our lifetime warranty stays with the pack, not the purchaser. So regardless of how you find us, we will be here to make sure your pack stays on the course and out of the landfill. Pound's integrity is held together with more than just thread.
Welcome back to the Upshot. Before we get to some burning questions about this weekend, just wanted to put this out there. I believe this is from Reed from our Discord. Reed Rasnick posted over on Reddit a visualization of scores over time at the tournament. We'll start with MPO. So let's put it up. If you're watching on YouTube, you can watch it in real time with us and roll it. So, we know Chris Dickerson getting out to the early lead, Josh. Macbeth playing great in round 1 as well. And look at, Gannon's hanging around. And look at Gannon's run there. And then look at Ricky's run here.
That's straight.
Oh, my God.
That's straight up,
just birdie after birdie after birdie. I mean, what was the count for him? He birdied 9 in a row and 11 of 12
and
from hole 6 to 17.
The one he didn't birdie was an intentional layup.
That's right.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
Really impressive, but Gannon putting together in the middle of the tournament. And I think it's interesting to look at, you can see Macbeth fall off the pace, right? It's like he's there, and then a couple bogeys, and then it's just too much.
To be fair, both Ricky and Paul did not match the pace necessary to keep up with Gannon until beginning a little bit in, maybe a third of the way into the final round, and that's when Ricky says, all right, I have to match this pace, and that's when Paul, you start to see make those misses where he alternates and doesn't get the momentum going. Yeah.
And you can see that flat spot where Niklas and Chris and Isaac all kind of flatline a little bit, and it's just Burr was just relentless. Yeah. Pretty interesting. Let's take a look at FPO and roll it. So
this one is opposite. This one's flipped. Going lower is better on this one.
Yeah, going lower is better. So you can see Eveliina taking the lead. Yeah. Kristin right there, and then Kristin started to have some struggles. Oh my goodness!
And there it is.
Oh my God, dude! Look at this chart from Kristin. What? Eveliina played so good, and it looks like a stock chart where she topped and then just went straight back down.
Yeah. The other thing that's remarkable to me is Silva, despite she has the ups and downs, but overall her line was from rounds 2 to 3 was consistently moving towards the bottom, and then she flatlines as well, right? And she loses that momentum. It's you can't look at this and not just be disappointed.
You can see in the middle of that chart. So when Kristin bottoms out, when she gets to her worst, right, the highest part of her line after the disaster in round 3, and then she starts coming back, you can see visually how Silva and Eveliina felt that pressure and imploded.
Here's the other thing that is noteworthy to me. Right about through 65 holes, I'll say 64 holes maybe. So at 64 holes, that leaves us with still 8 to play. So that would put us at hole 10. The 3 are effectively tied. Silva's at 6 under, Kristin and Eveliina are at 7 under, and that's the moment where it says where you have to say, who wants it? Who has, who is a champion? Who is going to go out and take this? And Silva then immediately proceeds to double bogey, and Eveliina just starts her downward descent, and Kristin remains Kristin. And that was the moment. That is the moment.
Yep. Crazy. All right, let's get to our burning questions. You want to start positive or negative? Let's start positive.
All right, let's start positive.
Let's feel good.
Okay.
Let's feel good. Who gets the biggest bump from this performance? We're each going to pick one player in each division. Who gets the biggest bump from this performance? And you define that how you want.
Yeah. These could have some ambiguity to them because I think it makes it interesting. Biggest bump for me, I got to say Silva on the FPO side. I think that this... Same with Champions Cup, right? The wins in Europe, missing a big field, to me, don't do as much as the fact that she is competing against the best in the world at the biggest stage and still holding her own. That, to me, big bump for future seasons.
She very nearly beat Kristin.
Yes.
In a 4-round major.
Yep.
It was extremely close. And these are the moments you have to go through as a player to get better at them.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. I also pick Silva because I just think she's showing that she's growing a lot. I mean, think about how much better she's gotten year over year. And she was doing well last season. She's going to keep coming. She needs to learn how to throw a better forehand. I think it's part of the reason, perhaps, that she struggled on the 18th.
Yeah, she can't pull her drives the way that she does.
She just generally has a little bit of a. She's obviously an amazing putter.
Yes.
I mean, as soon as Owen retires, Silva will be the number one putter. But yeah, she sprays it a little bit. Got to dial that in and learn forehand. For MPO, I'm picking Lauri Lehtinen. Lauri finished 8th. He shot a 10 under in the final round. And overall is just kind of coming back, trending in the right direction. He had a 3rd at Finnish Nationals. He got a couple of podium spots on the DGPT silver events. And, just looks like he's starting to have some confidence again out there after having to basically take a break from tour.
Sure.
So I think this is huge for him to get a top 10.
My bump, and not like he needed it, but I think it puts him on another level. It goes to Gannon. Don't look now, Charlie. Gannon's got 4 wins, including a major and 2 Elite Plus events. He's on track to put together a season that we haven't seen since 2019, Paul.
It's true.
Think of if you had to define what the most successful season is in recent history since 2019, Paul, when he won everything. Post COVID, what are the seasons that come to mind? I'll give you 3 that I think of. Isaac Robinson winning 2 majors, Ricky Wysocki winning 5 Elite Series events, including the Pro Tour Championship, Calvin Heimberg and the consistency that he had last season. All 3 have very different metrics in terms of wins, majors, or consistency. Gannon is on track to outperform all of them.
That's crazy.
He's got the major already. He's on track to outperform Ricky in terms of number of wins, and his worst finish is 13th at OTB Open, and he's only missed the top 10 twice.
Yeah,
he's
the world number 1 right now, and there's no dispute.
I think
there is no conversation.
Runs away the rest of the season.
It might. If he does, we're going to have some heavy conversations about what the future could hold. I mean, he is separated.
You want Macbethian type of performance? Gannon's giving it to you this year.
The AB Player of the Year. I mean, obviously AB's still definitely in that conversation, but Gannon is passing everybody right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the biggest disappointment for this weekend. Okay. I'll start this time. For me in MPO, I'm going to go with Eagle McMahon. This is a tournament where he's had so much success. Mm-hmm. He's been just awesome here. And he's now had some time to come back from, the surgery and play some events and get through some of the early hiccups and bumps. And he finishes 61st and doesn't even come close to cashing. And this is a tournament where, after having taken a huge hiatus, he came out and shot the greatest major performance in history just, 2 years ago?
Yep.
Very disappointing. People are starting to be like, where's Eagle going to be? Have we seen the best of his career? And I think that maybe it's a little too early to say that, but this weekend, definitely disappointing.
My MPO pick, Paul McBeth. Paul's opportunity to tie Kenny's record is running out. And
he can't ask for better than where he was here this weekend. That's
exactly right. You even if he doesn't overcome the 3-stroke deficit, you still expect him to be where Ricky is, right? You expect him to have held the pace and at least shot double digits. And Paul took himself out of this weekend. He did not give any sort of effort to put pressure on Gannon. That was solely Ricky. And the problem is, it's another lame excuse comes out on Instagram. I'm not saying Paul doesn't have it in him, but Father Time is catching up, and Father Time is unbeaten.
Father Time, man. I think Paul's going to get another shot or two, and I think he's going to get
one,
hope so. But you never know. How about your FPO?
Eveliina.
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
Has to be.
Yeah, golden opportunity.
Yep. should have been walking that
and
one
just
in.
to play that bad in the last round, it's got to be a hard pill to swallow.
Yep. All right, let's flip this. Who do you write off as just having a bad weekend? You don't read anything into it. It was just this weekend.
All right, I'm going to go FPO first. This is a counterintuitive answer. Kristin.
People were panicking.
This was one of her weaker performances to win a major. Yep. I think if we went back and we looked at the round ratings from her, you know what? We don't have to just
speculate,
theoretically discuss this. I can actually look up her major wins and tell you exactly where it was. Her event rating, this was her lowest event rating to win a major since 2019 when she won her first at the U.S. Women's Championships. Then she had 4 in a row over 1,000. Last year's U.S. Women's, where she was a little shaky at times, she shot 993 over the course of the weekend. This weekend, 986. You know, this was nothing like last year's European Open win, which was decided after round 2. And I'm not going to overly read into it.
Okay.
I think she just had a bad day.
Yeah.
She caught weird breaks. She went through that hole in the fence to go OB. What the heck was that? Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong. It was Murphy's Law in action in round 3, and she shrugged it off and still won. And she should have won this tournament by like 5 to 10 strokes. And I think that you play it again, it would probably happen that way.
My pick in FPO is Missy. I don't think you should read into it. I think there's a very real possibility she comes out and wins European Disc Golf Festival next weekend. I think there's a good chance she wins Ledgestone in a couple weeks, where she has always excelled.
So good at Ledgestone.
There's a chance that she comes back and wins Worlds here next year. The 2 courses are good for her. I think that it was a off weekend, and the 3 under at the Beast was a good round to finish. And I really like Missy for this season, for next year. I write it off as a bad weekend. I think she could have done better. MPO, yeah. Anthony Barella. I think he still has a chance to continue to put together a pretty spectacular season. I mean, he also is at 4 wins. But I write this off as a bad weekend. He did sneak inside cash, but you would have expected more from him. And I think that this tournament just might be in his head. He missed the island both times on hole 16. It's that hole has his number, and unfortunately, that might just be the way it is. But I don't read into this for the rest of the season at all for AB. So I write this off as a bad weekend.
For me, I'm going to go with Calvin. I've obviously people are so ready for Calvin to win a major. He was very disappointing in his opening 2 rounds. Maybe there's a problem there with it being, Tampere, like not setting up well for him. But I just think he has been traveling too much and not, taking the time to be like more clearly focused on the things that matter most. I'm not going to use the jet lag excuse, but I mean, I don't know. Like this just doesn't feel like he came back and shot 2 awesome rounds at Beast and pulled himself all the way back into cash to keep his number 1 active cash streak alive.
Man, a tale as old as time.
Disappointing. I know. I think if you want to kill him for not doing well at a major again, I think you definitely can. But I think it's more of a fluke than a signal.
Yeah, I think had he been in like contention and been on lead card, then you react more to Calvin. But he just didn't play Tom very well, and that's
all right. So who should we be more worried about then? Like, who are people that you're feeling worried about for one reason or another? And it's not just a bad weekend, that there's like actually like concern.
I'll give you, so my MPO pick, Nicholas. He was 7 strokes back. It would have been a miracle for him to win this tournament, right? It would have been the largest comeback in MPO history. Second, I think. I don't remember which one. Will Schuster had a comeback in like 2014 that was huge. I don't remember how many strokes it was, but it would have set records. Nicholas has a putting problem. And that putting problem is exacerbated in high pressure moments, and it has held him back from winning majors. And that was the case this weekend as well. When you look over at his putting stats, he lost strokes in strokes gained C1X. That's not good enough. It's not. And that was in finals. Yeah. So, okay, there we go. He is the only player inside the top 10. I guess. Okay, Robert Burridge is tied in for ninth. Okay, that's just completely factually wrong. Let me put it this way. As Robinson,
I'm just making up lies right now.
I'm lying
Welcome
to you. I'm
Upshot.
full of it.
We say whatever we want. Pure lies.
He went negative in strokes gained putting. You're not going to win majors that way, and that to me is worrisome for the future.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, it's not. It was an ugly performance this weekend, putting wise. Yeah. But he's been good. He seems like he rides the roller coaster a little bit. But yeah, it was a tough watch at times. You know, there were a couple key putts in that. Was it the second round or the third round where he was still really, really in it, and he just like missed crucial putts, and like he's like head and hands on like hole 7.
Yeah.
You know, like knowing that it's just not right now. My answer is James Conrad. And I mean, it's not really about this particular tournament. It's more just that, like, I'm just not sure he can compete anymore.
Yep.
And this has been somebody who's been one of the more impressive players at majors over the last 5 years. And I just don't know that he's got it. And that doesn't take away from the fact that has had an awesome career, but he missed cash. And he's just been like, when is the last time we even talked about James Conrad?
No.
He's down to 1022 rated. He hasn't finished inside the top 10 this whole season, and he's not cashing that much anymore.
Yep.
Like, I just think it's it might just be this is how it is.
Listen,
like, he's just not good enough anymore.
The Eli Manning of disc golf is going to ride off and enjoy his title.
He's probably going to get a spot in the Hall of Fame.
He is. Yes, he is. And you know what?
He's given us some amazing moments on the disc golf course, and not just the holy shot.
That's right. It's great for James, but I agree. I think this might be it.
For FPO, I got to say it. It's Paige Pierce. When is she going to win another major? Tell me.
Yep.
I think you look at the OTB major next year for Champions Cup, if they keep it there, which and I mean, I think you can definitely make that case, but otherwise I don't see it.
It feels like the last best
I don't
chance.
see the level of play necessary for it to happen.
Or focus, to be honest. Yeah.
She had an Insta post before the tournament. She's like, time for European Open, all gas, no brakes, baby. And everyone in the Discord was like, please put the brakes on. Please, brakes. We need brakes. And it's true. She's going to learn how to golf more.
Yeah. My pick's Eveliina. You would think that wins like Copenhagen, where she hits putts to get big wins, or Champions Cup would create the kind of foundation for the necessary mental game. Not that she's an amazing putter, but to like create the resilience to withstand something like hole 6. I worry that Eveliina will never be able to ascend to the level of FPO that she deserves, that her ceiling puts her at, because she cannot get over her own mental game. And this weekend, to me, makes that more apparent than ever, and I'm very worried about whether or not we're ever going to be able to see a consistent and reliable Eveliina.
I just want to go back. I definitely understand your perspective on this one. Did Paige have stats for all rounds? I think so.
I hate that we have to check that.
Just checking.
Yeah, she did have stats for all rounds.
Okay. Her overall stats this weekend, I just wanted to come back to this because I found it very interesting and I hadn't noticed it before. She actually outplayed Kristin tee to green. And she went OB 5 fewer times. So what's the story, Josh? She was a minus 7.7, literally dead last in strokes gained circle 1. She went 31 for 51 C1X putting for 61%. She missed 20 putts inside the circle.
That's practice. That is practice.
It's crazy, man.
She is a better putter than that. Like
a lot better than that. She's been a well above average putter for most of her career.
And that is something that you can fix. You know that she's got the mental game, which means it is just purely she is not I don't think she's practicing putting enough then. That's
20 shots.
Terrible.
She finished 11 shots behind Kristin. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. That's shocking. She had a very, very bad round 2 on the green.
Eveliina went 25 holes to finish the tournament without a birdie.
Oh.
Holes 12 through all of round 3,
pain.
the rest of the tournament, she did not have a birdie. I mean, that's a pair of players you got to watch and should be worried about.
All right. Who are people going to overreact to one way or the other?
I'm so excited for
I'll
this
give you
question.
mine first. FPO, it's Eveliina. You just did it. You just did it. Yes, she had a bad round. So did Kristin. The timing was wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I don't agree, but
She also just caught some bad breaks.
yeah, but you can't. So did Gannon, but one put it together and got a major, and the other just became a basket case. So, I'm just saying, Eveliina's going to be there, and she's going to keep being there, Sure.
and she's like what? She's like 23 or something.
You're right. All right.
She's gonna be there, and she's getting better. She's getting better. Eveliina turned 24 last year. So,
my pick is Silva, and I am doing this purely on the fact that I've already seen all over social media. Oh yeah, Silva, the second best player in the world. I think Silva gets a bump from this. I said that. I think Silva had a great performance. I think there's a lot of things to take away from this weekend. Holland and Owen and Valerie Mandujano and Haley King and a wealth of other talent over on the FPO side still was not here. And all of her wins come at tournaments where she did not have that competition. I think Silva's a great player. I think she will continue to improve, and she has the tools and the kind of profile that matches Kristin that could really vault her up to number 2 in the world eventually. But everybody needs to just settle down a little bit.
How about MPO, Josh?
All right, Charlie. I think we're gonna pick a fight over this one. I think people are gonna overreact to Ricky in the positive, like thinking that Ricky will take a lot from this. And let me tell you.
I'm gonna let you make your case.
I'll
just wait.
I pulled stats for Ricky since 2018. He won his last major in 2017 at Worlds. Since 2018, Ricky has had an average finish at majors of 6th. His worst finish is 12th. And he pairs that with 7 podiums. So he podiums almost half the events. I don't get why people all of a sudden are like, oh, this is it. This is the podium that propels him forward. You say he has a spectacular performance and that that's what's going to do it, and he was just outplayed. I raise you one and say 2019 Peoria World Championships. Charlie, you should know you were on the fairways. Ricky shoots 5 better than Paul in the finals in order to get within a stroke and still isn't able to close it out because Paul outplays him. Almost identical situation to this one. Guess what? He didn't win a major after 2019 Worlds. ICU USDGC in 2021 when Ricky was still in it, but shoots 3 strokes worse than Kyle Klein and falls out when Paul and Kyle get to go to a playoff, and Rick is standing holding the bag, looking disappointed and sad, just like he was this weekend, Charlie. I see.
What a hater.
I see you, a Ricky Wysocki, who 2 years ago won 5 Pro Tour events, including the championship. What more do you need from Ricky to believe that he can win a major and he still can't close it out? This is no different. Ricky can't close at majors and he's running out of time. I don't think he does it again within a decade.
He's running out of time.
He is.
He's running out. Josh, he just shot 3 course records on 3 different courses.
And it wasn't enough.
In a row.
And it wasn't enough.
Including at a course that has been played for years
I hear you.
and years and years.
And it wasn't enough.
Okay. Credit to Gannon for playing amazing and somehow managing to stay in front of Ricky. But Ricky just shot his best event rating at a major, I think since his 3rd best of his career.
When was the best?
His best was actually at 2019 Worlds when Paul somehow beat him in Peoria.
You mean same storyline and it didn't mean anything?
Oh my God. You are a horrible person. Listen, Ricky, the point is not that he didn't. Yes, he lost.
Yes.
But you're telling me that he can't come out at Worlds and win in a month?
You telling me he could have done it in 2019?
Yeah.
Or the season that he won 5 events? Like, my point is Ricky's been in form. It's not like...
But no,
yes,
not like this.
Yes, like this, Charlie. Yes, like this. Here's the problem.
He hasn't shot 1060, which is what he shot this weekend at a major, since 2019. Like, this is literally the best major performance that he's had since 2019.
But why not 2019 then? In 2022 he was rated in 2021 he was 1055 rated. In 1056 rated. Why didn't he win when he was 1056 rated? He's six rating points worse. Listen, Gannon is ascending to take his throne and is only getting better. Anthony Barella is now a absolute threat who has one of the highest ceilings, maybe next to only Gannon Burr. Nicholas Ontala is coming into form. Kyle Klein is a major winner. And that's not to mention the slew of other players who will continue to come onto tour and continue to play better. Ricky?
I'll give you this. He blew it at 2021 USDGC.
Yes.
By the way, there were only 2 majors that year. So, let's cut the guy some slack. There were 3 majors total between 2020 and 2021. COVID. Okay? He blew it.
He did.
At that tournament. He had that terrible round 3, and he blew it.
The guy was ready to walk it in.
Macbeth shot 8 shots better than him in round 3. I acknowledge that. He's obviously had some disappointing days, but he did not disappoint this weekend.
No.
He played great all rounds.
But he's done that in other years. The field is getting better. Ricky is not as good as he used to be.
I can't wait for you to have to fly to New York when he wins Worlds next month.
You know what? And if I have to,
it's going to be so awesome.
But the point I'm trying to make, we've had reason for Ricky to win majors for years now. And his performance is still good, but it is not as good as it used to be. Ricky is declining. His finishes, his podium percentages, his rating points all say that. And the field around him is getting better. I'm sorry. He's not winning another one.
We'll see. My answer to this question, overreactions, is actually going to be Gannon.
You've targeted people both who I read into a lot this weekend.
Exactly.
Look, man.
This is a great win.
Mm-hmm.
Gannon was awesome. He withstood the pressure. But does this change anything meaningfully about his trajectory as a player? I mean, I know it's a second major. That counts, right? That goes in the ledger. It counts. Season. It's in the storybook. He's now a multi-time major winner. Well, he wasn't even there first. Isaac got there first. Mm-hmm. I think Gannon is going to be a tremendous player for the future. He's the world number 1 right now. This doesn't mean he's Macbeth now. People are ready to start saying, "Oh, here it is, greatest of all time. Here it comes."
Okay, yeah. No,
come on,
no, not goat. But in the same way, I don't think Patrick Mahomes. I think people who argue Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT already are misguided. But that doesn't mean that he has GOAT-like potential. And just because it's inevitable does not mean what he's doing this season isn't special.
All right, last one. Way too early Worlds pick for next year.
Yep.
Not for next week or for next month. We're talking 2025 on these
Europe.
same courses. Tampere Beast again.
Yep.
Who you got? Am I first?
I don't know.
I think I'm first.
Okay, hit it.
FPO. Come on. Give me Kristin. Simple as that. I mean, 3 rounds at the Beast.
Yep.
2 rounds at Tampere. Obviously, this performance this weekend maybe opens the door for you to think about other players, but I'm still taking Kristin.
Give me Holland Handley.
Wow.
I think Holland is another player who, the completeness of skill set, and even better in some aspects, matches Kristin. She does not have the mental game, but I think within a year, she will have enough experience and have the capacity to withstand some of those mental pressures. And I really, really like Holland at the Beast. So I'll take Holland.
How about MPO, Josh?
All right. To me, I feel like the pick is Gannon Burr. But I want to give you my 1B pick, who I think is the spicy one that I actually really think has a good shot. Give me Ezra Robinson. All right, and now listen to me. Listen to me.
You love picking Ezra Robinson.
I have thoughts.
Why?
Ready?
Why?
Ready? Yeah, I'm going to give you why.
Okay.
We've seen him at Wooded Majors make improvements, like Champions Cup. Disappointing finish, but he was on the lead card for the final round. We know he can play in the woods, and he continues to improve year over year. Right? Like that's the thing. Is like Gannon. The improvement at the levels at which Gannon plays are marginal. He already plays so well, and it's hard to see deficiencies. I feel like you see the deficiencies in Ezra, and he's still playing so well despite those deficiencies. So he has a lot of room for upward growth. But the big thing to me, and this is what I think is like the real shining point, there are 3 rounds at the Beast. Did you know that Ezra Robinson was tied with Calvin Heimberg for the second best player at the Beast this weekend? Shooting 20 down over the 2 rounds. I think with 3 rounds at the Beast and some improvement next year at Tampere, like Ezra Robinson could very well be in the mix to win his first World Championships. The only players who shot better were Gannon and Ricky. And so at the Beast, it's just, I see the opportunity for that movement upward that I don't see out of a lot of other players. And so I'm really excited for Ezra in future years.
I would love to take a little bit more of a look at his stats from this weekend, but he didn't have stats for the first 2 rounds.
I know. Isn't it terrible?
What a disaster. Once again. Come on.
I know.
Get it together, folks. Listen, Ezra's good, but he's just so far away from being a major winner. I don't know how you're getting there. You're talking yourself into some serious growth between now and then.
I mean, that's why I picked Gannon, right?
You know who I'm taking, Josh? I'm taking Ricky.
Man, that's an overreaction if I ever heard one.
It is not. He just played amazing at these courses. I'm taking Ricky.
That's fine.
It's going to be his swan song.
Okay. I thought Worlds this year was going to be his swan song.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a double swan song. All right. Pursewatch. Let's take a look. European Open, 76,368 for MPO, 26,069 for FPO, for a total of 102,437. That is $840 a player. That's good by the season standards, but it is below both of the other majors for this year. U.S. Women's came in at $891 a player, and Champions Cup came in at a whopping $1,007 per player. The Champions Cup purse was $145,000.
Massive.
To European Open's $102,000. Now, acknowledge there were 22 more players at Champions Cup, but
still,
is European Open's purse not big enough, or is it fine? It's coming in around DGPT Elite Series event level.
I think it's fine because it doesn't use spectator numbers either, right? They do 102,000 without much in the way of spectator sales, and to me that what it loses in cash, it makes up for in prestige of the crowds, of the venue, the experience, and so I think it's fine. I think Champions Cup is a bit of like that one is artificially high, to be honest. I mean,
do you think it's an overpay? You think because the PDGA is surely basically just dipping into their own bank account to pay that payout.
I think
they didn't have there were like 10 people at that tournament.
Yeah,
spectating.
Counterpoint. It looks like an overpay now, but remember, I think we said 2 years ago at the inaugural Champions Cup when they juiced the payouts that is a way to instantly add prestige to a new major. And so it looked like the right decision a couple of years ago, and now feels like it might be an overpay. But I don't think we can knock the PDGA for I don't knock the PDGA for what I thought was a smart decision at the inaugural Champions Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Last year, USDGC came in at 125K. Worlds was 275K. I'm taking the under on this year's Worlds. What do you think?
Yeah, I would as well.
Although their ticket sales look really good.
275 is a ton.
Whew, it's a ton. They had the LL Bean. We have that again? I haven't heard that.
How much is Dylan Cease juicing this pot? That's the real question.
So that is your purse watch for the European Open. We usually do a hole 18 review. Let's do a really quick hole 16 review. What do you think? What should change, if anything, for Worlds?
The PDGA is lucky that Rebecca Duffy called that time warning on 15, because it now means that this was not the worst decision the PDGA made all weekend.
Josh.
Horrible call. Horrible call.
The changes.
The changes to 16, yes. But I mean both. But it effectively, so here, let me give you, we talked about this Rapid Reacts, but hole 16, stats for final round, 60% took birdie. 12 people took par, and all but two of them missed a putt on the island. Okay. The other 10 went OB and then saved their par from the drop zone. And the first drop zone, not the second drop zone, is what I believe. Because,
well, how would you know?
Because the throw-in distance is different, the putt distance is different for every one of them. So either the PDGA scorekeeping is wholly unreliable, because you should know how far the second drop zone putt would be, and you should be able just to enter that in the putt distance, or they all had different distances of putts because they went OB on the first spot. Linus Carlson may be the only one to me that could have made that putt at 55 feet, or maybe one or two of them. But it seems to me, based on the different distances, that it's likely that most of them went OB on the first shot and then saved par, a la Gannon Burn round 3. I am doing my best with a very bad statistics. There were, on the whole, then, only there were 28% that took bogey or worse, and only 5% took double bogey or worse. And that took, that is a truly horrendous performance on that hole. It took one of the best holes in the world and removed any decision making, any choice. And I hate it.
It played way easier. I looked it up. Last year, birdie rate was 40% on the final day, and this year it was 60%. Because I think psychologically it's changed.
What was the par percentage?
I don't remember.
That's all right.
I think my number one option for next year for Worlds is just go back to bunker rule.
Yep.
It was great. There's nothing wrong with it. If you can't make the island, lay up and do better. If you get rocked, you get rocked. Rate the round. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I don't even understand what the justification is for not rating the round with this kind of rule in place, which they've been rating these rounds.
I know.
And then they were like, we're not going to rate it.
But Charlie, TD C tiers want to implement the same rules because the European Open does it.
That's my number one option, right? Go back to bunker rule.
Sure.
It was much more entertaining hole. You've taken the teeth out of it, and for no reason. If you're insisting on doing the drop zone thing, then we need to have some changes in place. If you go OB, throwing to the island at all, at any point, you must immediately go to drop zone 1, which should also be made a more difficult shot.
Yep.
Maybe you even put it where Anthony Barella kept going out of bounds last year. Put a little plaque on the ground.
That's cruel
just
and unnecessary.
Holy shot. I'm sorry. That's probably too hard anyway. But make it harder. And you probably want to make drop zone 2 a little bit harder. But what you shouldn't be able to do is make the fairway and then throw OB going to the island and go to drop zone 2. No, you have to go to drop zone 1 first. Mm-hmm. At least that creates more scare for players, because they might go OB twice trying to throw across to the island, mm-hmm. and they can actually take a bigger number that hurts them instead of feeling like bogey's basically guaranteed. I just think, let's make it harder, please.
The bigger problem, drop zone 1, it was easier to throw from drop zone 1 because you had the long side of the fairway and your hyzer checked into the hill than most of the people who had to throw from where their drive landed.
Totally. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Horrible.
Make the drop zone harder, and make so that if you miss the island on either your first or second shot, or maybe third shot if you chose to lay up, which why would you?
Yeah.
Then you have to go to drop zone 1 first. You don't get to ever go to drop zone 2 after one OB stroke.
Yep.
You always go to drop zone 1 first. That would at least make it harder and scarier.
Charlie, you ready for this?
Yeah.
The 20% birdies increase. Those were pars last season. Literally,
Right.
just take those 20% birdies and make them pars. And those are from people who laid up. And that choice is just no longer present. I hate it.
No choice. There was no choice
Good-
this year. It
good-
made no sense to do anything but run it.
Good disc golf has choice. Make players make decisions, especially under pressure.
Absolutely.
Effectively removed it from the hole.
Couldn't disagree more. Couldn't agree more.
Couldn't disagree with the PDG's decision more.
To be fair, it was UC's decision.
Kind of.
Kind of.
I don't blame
Okay.
UC.
That is going to do it for today's show. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate you tuning in every week. And we'll be back with you on Thursday to get you ready for the Estonian Disc Golf Festival, which, by the way, is a preview of next year's European major. We were going to have those two majors basically back-to-back next year with Worlds and European. Well, it's going to be called Estonian Disc Golf Festival.
Yeah.
So
I'm stoked
I'm
for
excited
this
to see what this tournament
Yeah.
looks like and looking forward to breaking it down next week. Or on Thursday, that is.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you Thursday right here on The Upshot.